Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Granth Sahib Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Society of Godhead, of merits full obeisances unto you. Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance to the personality of God and Narayana, and to Narayan Rishi, who spoke in the meeting, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Ashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishiki. Attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed. And learning service as the Spirit of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual mind will my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 15th chapter, text 69 to 74. So we can recite all together, is it? All together? Text 69. Long ago, in another Mahakalpa, millennium of Brahma, I existed as the Gandharva known as Abharana. I was very respected by other Gandharvas. Face and a pleasing, attractive bodily structure, decorated with flower garlands and overpopped. I was most pleasing to the women of my city. I was bewildered, always feeling lust. Was there some Kirtan festival to glorify the Supreme Personality?
Being invited to that festival, I also joined and surrounded by women.
I began immediately
Singing the
glorious name of God.
the deity of the gods in charge of the affairs of the earth, forcibly cursed me with these words, because you have committed an offense. May
You immediately become a Shudra, devoid of beauty. Although I took birth as a Shudra from the womb of a maid servant,
I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas, who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently,
This life I
had
got
the opportunity to take birth as son of
from Lord Brahma.
The
Process of chanting the holy name is so powerful
that by this chanting, even the household
and very easily gain the ultimate result.
achieved by
Persons in the renounced order.
Maharaj Yudhishthira, I am now explaining the battle for self-realization.
So we can go into the verse. So verse number 74. So I'll read this and recite. So dharmaste griha medhiyo varnitah papanashanaha grihasto yena padivyam agyasa nasinam yat.
Dharmaste gramidhiyo
Dharmaste griha medhiyo varnitah papanashanaha
grihasto yena padvima
grihasto yena padavim agyasa nayisinam yat. Dharmaste griha medhiyo varnita papanashanaha grihastayena padavim agyasa nyasinam iyat. Dharmaste varnitaha papanashanaha grihastayena padavim agnasanasiyam iyat. Varnita papanashanaha grihasto yena padavyam agyasa nyasanim iyat. So I'll read the translation just to bring the focus back. So the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that chanting, even householders, grihastas, can very easily attain the ultimate result by persons in the renounced order. Maharaj Yudhishthir, I have now explained to you that process of religion. So in these verses, in these past 5 verses, firstly, it's my good fortune to be here amongst all the Bhakti Academy and ISKCON Toronto devotees. I seek your blessings, Dharma Prabhu Ki Jai, and all the devotees. So we're reading these 5 verses in which Narad Muni explains a little bit about his past life. Now when great devotees, typically, they don't go into their personal, they always stick to what is taught in the Shastras and in the Parampara. But here we find Narad Muni exposing a little bit about his past life. And you'll find in these 5 verses what he goes through. There's immense learning in each of those verses. But we also know, let's speak about the personality. Narad Muni is instrumental in many of the pastimes we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, the Prachetas, we see even Lord Ram, Valmiki. We know that Valmiki was a dacoit, right? He would half kill animals. And Narad Muni came and taught him a mantra. He said, I can't learn any of these Mahamantras or anything. Just give me something that I can relate to. Narad Muni taught him what mantra? Mara. Mara means death. So he said, oh yeah, that I can chant. So Mara, 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 Mara. He ended up chanting Rama's name. So this personality, Narad Muni, is explaining his past life. And let's look at each verse one by one. So verse text 69 says, long, long ago in another Mahakalpa. So if you remember, there are yuga cycles that happen from Satya Dwapar Treta Kali or Satya Treta Dwapar Kali, as we are in, the cycle continues endlessly. So in another Mahakalpa, I existed as the Gandharva known as Upabharna. Very importantly, I was very respected by other Gandharvas. So we know material successes are an impediment to devotional life. This is the teachings of Queen Kunti. And he's very much respected by other Gandharvas. When we look at our scriptural references, these kind of respects are classified under three things: Labha, Puja, and Pratishtha. Labha means you have a lot of profit, and for that people respect you. Or there is worship. You are worshipped for your opulence of beauty or knowledge or renunciation. And then there's pratishtha. You have a certain position in society. You control, you're a leader, you're a manager, a prime minister. And all of these upadhis are basically obstacles in devotional service. And you'll see that by the mere fact that he's respected, what happened to the next verse. Also, just when you find a devotee who has a lot of material options and is very spiritually advanced, you'll typically find them in the Bhagavatam. To find them in the material world is very rare, because that pure devotional and material opulence, Krishna doesn't give those two together. Many actually puts his devotees in difficult material circumstances. We all have seen that out the scriptures, perhaps in our own lives. We go through so many difficulties. Again, bring it back to the teachings of Queen Kunti, that those difficulties actually take shelter of Krishna more. So in text 70, he said, I had a beautiful face and a pleasing, attractive bodily structure. She was beautiful physically, decorated with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. I was most pleasing to the women of my city. Thus I was bewildered. Key point, always feeding lusty desires. The minute there's menses and there's a lot of attraction towards you, like, oh wow, you're so beautiful, all the women are very much attracted to him, he was bewildered. So when you boil it down to some of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, dhyayato vyam punsa, when you contemplate on the object of senses, then sangastesho upajayate, the attachment develops. And then sangat sanjayate kaman. From that attachment, or through that attachment, lust develops. It is literally the Bhagavad Gita in practice, in the life of Upabharana. So when people have material opulences, lots of them, beauty or fame, lusty desires are a natural progression towards those. And lower character traits engage those opulences in their own gratification. So I have a lot of money. You see that across the world. People wear, chains with their names on it. They have to their own names on their body. Ridiculous. It's all a show-off. But a devotee, when they have material opulences, like you see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Maharaj Prataparudra had tons of wealth. He was a powerful king. He was a king who was keeping the invading Muslim armies out. So he was very opulent. Yet, whenever the Jagannath Rath Yatra happened, he would climb down and he would broom the streets. So this is pure devotional service, where he's not attached to those opulences that he has. So whatever you have, ideally use them in the service of the Lord. That is when those opulences are pure. Otherwise, they are purely a hindrance. Then text 71. So once there was a Sankirtan festival to glorify the Supreme Lord in an assembly of the demigods. And the Gandharvas and Apsaras were invited by the Prajapatis to take part in it. Now this is in the higher planets. In planets there is Harigatho Pagayane, Sankirtan, in the sense of glorification of the Lord. Now, Svargaloka is the planet in which all the devatas, typically the senior most devatas, reside. And a part of Gandharva Loka, a part of Svargaloka connected to it is Gandharva Loka. Like in the pastime of the Mahabharata, when Arjun went to the heavenly planets, for what? To get the divine weapons. So he went through Lord Shiva, got the Pashupatastra. Lord Shiva gave him entrance into heavenly planets in his body, as it is. You usually cannot go with your physical body. Lord Shiva gave that entrance. Indra, obviously that's his father, technically. Indra gave him all the weapons, taught him everything he needed to teach. And then, Arjuna was like, what else can I learn? This is again the quality of a devotee. They're not satisfied with whatever they're given. They want to do more. So Indra actually said, you learn music from the Gandharva Chitraratha. And Chitraratha was actually a friend of Arjuna. It happened in his times. So the heavenly planet has the Gandharva Loka pretty much to it. And the Apsaras as well. So he was invited as Upabharna, as a Gandharva. Then text 72, Narad Muni continued, being invited to the festival, I also joined, surrounded by women, I began musically singing the glories of the demigods. Now, if you're invited to a festival, you know what the festival is about, right? Like, let's say Amalinam Prabhu's birthday is happening next week. We all get invited. Prabhu is making a beautiful feast, and we go there, and then we say, you know, Nityananda Prabhu, birthday to you, and it's awkward, right? Why would Narad Muni, or Upabharna, not Narad Muni, in his fully conditioned state, why would he do that? You know, it's a festival to glorify Lord Hari. We also can kind of decipher. He's heavenly planets, he's very beautiful, but he's not really in a senior position. So he wants to glorify those who are senior to them. We've all seen it in the material world, right? Those who are trying to gain higher positions, they're always trying to glorify and butter up the seniors, like, hey, you know, you're all great. So this was a serious problem. So he joined and began singing the glories of the demigods. Then the text continues, because of this, the Prajapatis, the great demigods in charge of the affairs of, forcefully cursed me with the words, because you have committed an offense, may you immediately become a Shudra, devoid of beauty. So this is really, really beautiful. The fact that, firstly, quickly in ISKCON get worried about demigods, right? We're like, oh, we don't worship demigods. They do funny things. Look at Indra. He attacked Vrindavan. Why would he do that? That this is the Supreme Personality. Brahma himself got bewildered. So, you know, we don't want to have anything to do with demigods. But the Prajapatis knew very much the condition of Upabharna. That Upabharna, you are in the heavens. There is a festival for the glorification of Lord Hari, but here you are glorifying the demigods. So they cursed him that may you lose all your beauty. I'll take a lozenge. Now, may you be devoid of beauty. That is literally cutting the problem at the root. Because as Upabharna, he was very proud of his beauty. And but of text 72, Srila Prabhupada explains that he made multiple offenses to the holy name. The first offense, Srila Prabhupada said, his first offense was that he went to join the Sankirtan party in the company of lusty women. That again is an offense. You're coming with consciousness. What does that actually mean, lusty women? He's going there with his own glorification, with him in the center. That's why when we go out on Sankirtan, or when we are doing Sankirtan together in the temple, who's in the center? Krishna will always be in the center. But if you're going in the company of those who will glorify you or try, satisfy you, that is keeping yourself in the center. That's a big offense. Let's relate that back to the offenses that we chant when we're, that we sing so that we're in the consciousness. To maintain materiality even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. That is literally, he's maintained that attachment, knowing that this is a festival to glorify Lord Hari. So that was his first offense. Then Srila Prabhupada explained that another offense was considered ordinary songs, like cinema songs and other such songs, to be equal to Sankirtan. Now, he went there singing Bollywood songs in a festival where you're glorifying Lord Hari. Completely offensive. And then in this verse we read, he began musically singing the glories of the demigods. That is the nail in the coffin, as they say. The last. So we know that there are 10 offenses against the holy name. One is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy names of the Lord. 2 is to equal to and depend on the names of Lord Vishnu. So there it is. Second offense. In practice, Upabharna is there. In a Hari Gatho Pagayane, well, we're going to Gayana Hari Gatho. The glories of Lord Hari were to be sung. And he made a grave offense. Now, what actually happened? He was cursed to lose all his beauty and become a Shudra. Was that a punishment, or was that a actual blessing in disguise? 100% blessing in disguise. When the Prajapati cursed, they could have cursed, go to hell and live there eternally. But he became a Shudra in his next life. So then, text 73, I took birth from a Shudra, as a Shudra from the womb of a maid servant. I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in life I got the opportunity to take birth as the son of Lord Brahma. Now, how many Shudras out there in that area, or in that time, actually were serving great Vaishnavas. Not many. So this is definitely a blessing by the Prajapatis. We also know from the first chapter that those personalities were actually Bhakti Vedanta, but I'll get to that. So when great personalities curse, that curse always is an associated blessing. So not all Shudras, he could have been born anywhere in the world. He could have been born in hellish planets, but he was born in a particular time where his mother was serving great devotees. So Chaturmasya happens, and these Vaishnavas would travel, the sadhus, but they would stay in one place in Chaturmasya. And during Chaturmasya, these Bhakti Vedantas, he says in the first canto, stayed at his home. And he could have been a young outside. His mother's doing all the servicing. No, but he was there. He was doing menial service. And it's explained in the first canto, he would sit and listen from a distance, the conversation that was happening. Literally purely absorbed in sadhu sangha, the association of Bhakti Vedantas. So that curse was actually a supreme blessing. Think about, we finished the Kartik month. Who were the two personalities we always talk about? Manigriva and Nalakuvera. They were cursed to become trees. Again, they were very proud of their beauty. They were very proud of their pratishtha. They were the sons of Kuvera, the treasure of the demigods. So they had all the wealth, they had all the beauty, they had the position, Labh, Pratishtha, Puja, they had access to all sense enjoyment and no devotion. Narad Muni could have cursed them to become trees in Toronto. And they will freeze to death, literally. But where did they take birth? Vrindavan, in the house of Nanda Maharaj. You know, so many of these pastimes of those who are cursed, there's always a huge blessing. King Nriga became a lizard, but Lord Krishna actually liberated him. That curse was actually turned into a blessing. Kabanda in the Ramayana, the first personality after Lord Ram delivered that he's looking for Mother Sita is a demon with extended arms. That demon is liberated by Lord Ram. And that again was a Gandharva who then took birth as Kabanda through a curse. Again, in the pastime of Lord Ram, there is a personality called Ahilya. Ahilya, very much similar story. And I want to touch on it a little bit. I remember a long time ago, I was being challenged by a very respectable lady who said, you know, why did Gautam Rishi curse his wife, Ahilya? She did nothing wrong. It was all Indra's fault. But if you actually read the Ramayana, and it's there in most of we refer to Valmiki. In Valmiki Ramayana, in that particular part, Gautam Rishi is there, it's late night or it's very early morning, and Indra was infatuated by the beauty of Ahilya, enjoy her. So he comes down.
I don't know the Ahilya story.
Oh, okay. So Ahilya is the wife of Gautam Rishi, and Gautam Rishi is one of the 7 sages. So she was born directly as daughter of Brahma, but she was very beautiful. And Brahma married her to Gautam Rishi. But, you know, they were complete sadhus, sages living in their own forest ashram. But they were living on the kind of near the outskirts of Mithila. They had a son, but Ahilya was very attractive, very beautiful. So one day, in the middle of the night, kind of too early in the morning, Indra comes. Some acharyas explained in the company of Chandra. And Chandra makes the sound of the rooster. And Gautam Rishi is like, what? This is too early. But anyway, he's a sadhu. What does he do? He wakes up early, goes to the river, takes his bath, does Gayatri, does his pujas, and comes back. So Indra had been observing him and realized that's the window of opportunity I can actually. But obviously she is a pativrata. She's she's devoted to her husband. So he said, I cannot approach her directly, so I have to take the form of Gautam Rishi. So Chandra makes that sound of the rooster. Gautam Rishi says, it's too early. You know, I'm a little tired, I'll still go. So he goes to the river, a little far. Just as he leaves, Indra comes, completely in the disguise of Gautam Rishi, exactly looking like him. Now this is where you have to read the pastime. A lot of people don't actually read the pastime. But Indra, in the guise of Gautam Rishi, comes. And Ahilya opens the door and she's like, oh, my dear husband offers a bit. You've come back so fast. And Indra, in the guise of Gautam Rishi, says, you know, very seriously, like, those who want to enjoy, don't wait for a particular time to enjoy, to conceive a child. I would like to be with you. She was stunned for a second. Then she smiled and offered a second obeisances. And this time Indra and the guys of Gautam Rishi is like, what happened? Why is she offering obeisance again? And the verse is explained. She says, welcome, king of the Devatas. She very much knew who he was. And the act was done. So it's explained that she was also, just like Upabharna, a little proud of her beauty. And she knew this is Indra coming. So, she did the act and she told Indra, please leave. We've made a big, before my husband comes. So Indra also realizes this is getting grave. He runs away. Just as he's running, Gautam Rishi comes and he realizes what happened. Both of them were cursed. Indra's curse is not that important. Ahilya was become a stone. And she was like, I'm so sorry, but how will I get liberated? Now she could have become a stone eternally. And why particularly a stone? She could have become a tree. She could have gone to the hellish planets. But Gautam Rishi, her husband, cursed her for two reasons to become a stone. One, when there is that desire to enjoy yourself, being yourself in the center, your heart becomes hard, like a stone. You get hard-hearted. And he wanted to help his wife overcome that. And the second thing, she was for some attention. Our acharyas explained she was looking for some attention, that I'm so active, people are looking at me. But when you're a stone, how many people actually look at, how many stones do you observe? We're like, wow, what a beautiful stone. You don't. Someone was looking at her. But again, Ahilya had devotion in her heart. So our Vedic scriptures afford everyone the opportunity to purify yourself. Even if you've made the gravest of offenses, you're able to rectify. So Ahilya, in that state as a stone, meditated on Lord Ram intensely. And it's explained, I think I touched on it last time, that the yoga cycles are Satya, Dwapar, Treta and Kali. And Lord Ram was being affected by her call. And Lord Ram said, wait Krishna, you wait, I'm going first. I have to deliver Ahilya. And Lord Ram goes in the forest to defend Vishwamitra Yagya. Vishwamitra then takes them to Sita's Swayamvar in Mithila. On the way, they stop at Gautam Rishi's ashram. And Lord Ram asks, this is a barren ashram, but it's still got potency. And what is this stone? Lord Ram obviously knows. And he wanted his spiritual master to explain. So then he placed his lotus foot on that stone and she became back to her original form. So the point of that pastime, similar to Narad Muni's Upabharna, if you have material opulences, they are very much an impediment. But when great devotees are there to correct you, to rectify you through either curses or through teachings or through processes, that is what will actually uplift you. So then the last verse, today's verse, the process Hare Krishna is so powerful that by this chanting, even householders can easily attain the ultimate result by persons in the renounced order. Typically, those who are in the renounced order, easy access to the Vedas, they have no other distractions, fully focused on serving the Lord. Yet householders who have so many other responsibilities, job, spouses, children, by simply chanting that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they too can get fully delivered. It's explained that the glories of the holy name are that all the merit of visiting holy dhams in the world can be obtained by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. All the benefit of reading all the scriptures in the world, 10 million times that is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is why Srila Prabhupada emphasized that point so much. In 1955, when Srila Prabhupada was taking sannyas, there was a whole ceremony that was happening. It was a small ceremony in Vrindavan. And one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, was there. And the ceremony was happening, and there was a priest, there was a yag, there was many mantras, Purusha Shukta, Shri Shuktas being chanted. And Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, who's a Paramahamsa, he just would chant Hare Krishna the whole day, 24 hours a day. So he was leading a soft kirtan on Mridanga, very softly. And Prabhupada was listening. But this priest was, turn it down, I'm doing all these pujas. So he would softly start chanting. But then after a few minutes, when the priest wasn't looking, Srila Prabhupada would look at him and say, chant louder. So Srila Prabhupada's faith on the holy name was so high. And Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj actually told the disciples that, this I know your spiritual master will be successful because he has firm faith in chanting of the holy names. And when we follow Srila Prabhupada, as Narad Muni got serve Bhakti Vedanta, so this was actually 2 lifetimes ago. He was Upabharna, then he became a Shudra, and then now he became Narad Muni. So in that middle phase, we have access to Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. All we have to do is serve his mission, and our life will be successful. So I will wrap up with 2 stories. 2 additional stories which I found very impactful. Again, when we're talking about chanting Hare Krishna and previous lives and next life birth, this is a story from ISKCON UK. So it is now in our generation. So there was a young Gujarati girl in ISKCON UK, and she was very skilled at playing the djembe. We all know what the djembe is, right? The African drum. So very nice beat. And she was young, but she also loved to go out on Harinam Sankirtan, but she was very shy. And the leader of that Harinam Sankirtan party was Tribhuvannath Prabhu. Tribhuvannath Prabhu is a Srila Prabhupada disciple. He would preach in Africa and preach in the Middle East. And there's so many glories of Tribhuvannath Prabhu, but he would call this girl, like, no, she was shy at the back. And he's like, no, you come right here and play right next to me. And she would play, and he would lead very powerful kirtans in UK, in London. I'll pause here. This is one story. Let's move to another one. I'm speaking about the djembe. Many years ago, so in the early 80s, in the same yatra in UK, there was a brahmachari. I think he was a Prabhupada disciple. And he also was good at djembe. And he would also go out on Harinam Sankirtan with Tribhuvannath Prabhu. And he would very much, just enjoy the chanting. But he's a young brahmachari. Somehow what happened is he got attracted to a young girl in the community, an Indian girl. And normal, that's fine. He unfortunately didn't take any action. He could have spoken to his seniors. He could have thought, could we get married? Is there a way I can enter into the Grihastha ashram? Maybe in those days there was a particular consideration that if you leave a brahmachari ashram, it's a fall down. None of that is true. Absolutely not. These are just ashrams. But he was very much infatuated by this girl. This is in our generation. So one day he was going in a car, he had his hand in his chanting Hare Krishna, but he was thinking about this girl. Guess what? An accident happened, he died. And this girl, Gujarati girl that I spoke about, he actually got born as that Gujarati girl. Natural to the Harinam and natural ability to play the djembe. This is the Bhagavad Gita in practice. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajanti antak. Whatever you think of at the time of death, you will achieve. But look at the mercy. He is born in the same yatra in a Gujarati girl body and doing the same service. And the devotees, Tribhuvannath Prabhu is like, come back to your here. You were playing djembe with me in your last birth, you're back here playing again. And when this girl approached, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, and for those who, listen to his class or know him, I think this world is fortunate that Maharaj actually walked on this planet. Intensely pure, powerful personality. She spoke to Maharaj, Hare Krishna, and Maharaj immediately looked at her and said, who were you thinking of in your last birth when you died? So he knew exactly what happened. So devotees, this particular closing story gives you the firm conviction that we read in the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, these are not just theories. It's not just a general philosophy. It is very much in practice. And again, whatever you think of at the time of death, you will achieve. But also, wherever you left off in your bhakti, you will pick up exactly there and move on. Bank balance closes at the time of death, but your spiritual bank balance will continue eternally. So while we have this chance as human birth, human form body, let's really hold on to the process. Let's really give everything we can. And taking the teachings from all the devotees, and including Narad Muni, who's also an acharya in our parampara, let's really intensify our devotional service and take our bhakti to the next level. So with that, let's open up for reflections. Please share your thoughts or questions. Hare Krishna. Antariksh Prabhu. Welcome. Antariksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The way you mentioned Prajapati's curse was a kind of blessing.
Yes.
Then the same way Parikshit Maharaj's curse was also
100%.
a blessing.
Yeah,
But
100%.
why a stage called kind of beginning of Kali Yuga when a Brahman cursed a Kshatriya necessarily? in a way, if we look that thing from this perspective, he just did a great favor to Parikshit.
He did, yes. So there's a few things that happen. Kali Yuga started, Krishna left the planet, and that was before Parikshit Maharaj so after Parikshit Maharaj was born, but before the Bhagavatam pastime happened.
This is the point where Brahmins were kind of
Yes, yes.
getting
Yes. So that turn actually happened. So Shringi, the son of that Brahmana, so Parikshit Maharaj put a dead snake around that sage's neck. But his son actually cursed him. But Parikshit Maharaj, the name Pariksha, one who was doing Pariksha, testing. I saw Krishna in the womb. Who was that? He's always testing. So Parikshit Maharaj was always fully surrendered to Krishna. So that curse technically was, but it was Krishna's arrangement. It was Krishna's arrangement to bless Parikshit and all of us with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because it's explained that when Krishna left, the devotees were asking, like, how are we going to survive without you, without your physical presence? And he said, I will appear as the Srimad Bhagavatam. So to appear as Srimad Bhagavatam, when all the sages were there, when Shukra Goswami spoke, for that to actually happen, this jolt was needed. So technically, it also represents that the Brahmanas, that Shringi was a proud boy. But whenever Krishna wants, he can achieve multiple results in action. So Shringi cursing showed that the Brahmins are actually going to lose their purity in Kali Yuga. And he actually did. And his father actually scolded, like, how could you do that? And his father didn't want to go directly to Parikshit Maharaj. He sent another person to say, please tell the king that he's been cursed like this. Now the king, Parikshit Maharaj, had such power that he could have countered that. He could have said, I will curse that this curse is nullified. Parikshit Maharaj had the power to stop Kali in his footsteps. And he was saying, out of my kingdom. And the whole world was his kingdom. But he didn't do any of it because he realized this is Krishna's desire. So great devotees in their heart know this is Krishna's desire. Krishna wants this to happen. So when that happened, he left everything. And the Srimad Bhagavatam happened so that all of us sitting in 2024, 30th of November, can still associate with Krishna. So Krishna achieves multiple things through one action. I hope that answered your question. Jai. Thank you. Sarthak Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the great
Hare
class.
Krishna.
And those stories in the end gave me goosebumps.
I always have goosebumps when I think of that story.
There was a similar story where
Yes.
once Gopal Krishna Maharaj was doing some Abhishek in Delhi temple, and one college guy just walked in, and Maharaj just came and said, you do Abhishek with me. And then all the brahmacharis were like, what just happened?
What happened, yes.
He's not clean.
Yes.
And Maharaj just told him, I know him from his previous
From his birth,
So
yeah.
These things are like all around us, and we just need to be receptive to their mercy. And
Correct, absolutely correct.
Prabhu, just one quick question. You said curses in the Shastras, it comes across that curses were actually hidden benedictions. But nowadays, should we find one who sort of, not curse, but who says something negative or something that maybe troubles us? How do we know if they are really intending if they're doing it for our improvement or if they're just a jealous personality? Because it's all mixed.
It's mixed, yeah.
In Kali Yuga, so.
Great point, Sarthak. And I think previously, so the Prajapatis, Gautam Rishi, Narad Muni, when they are absolutely pure. So they are not able to punish at all. Their purity, even a curse, is a benediction completely connected to it. In today's age, there is no such purity. So when someone says, I curse you, I don't think they have the power to curse. Again, we will not know the purity that that individual actually has. So what we can do is two things. If they actually say something hurtful, like, may you fall down and what, it actually happens that in a state of argument, devotees can actually say things. We do exactly what Parikshit Maharaj did. We are fully surrendered to Krishna. And like that, whatever is to happen, Krishna, I leave it to you. We again, depending on our own maturity in Krishna consciousness, we could seek senior devotees' help to explain what has happened and bring us together. And maybe that devotee will apologize. If not, Krishna, whatever you would like, I am fully surrendered unto you. So that way, our surrender will also increase, to Krishna, and whatever needs to happen by Krishna's grace will happen. But typically, you have to deal with that situation. Many times, the first reaction is disturbing. Could they say that? You have to deal with that emotion as well. Don't ever suppress emotion like that brahmachari. Like you have to deal with it. If there's a thought, someone says, "May you become a cow in your next life." If you start meditating on that, and then something happens, you will actually be thinking of a cow at the time that you leave a body. So you have to deal with that emotional reaction. When something bad happens, deal with that. But also parallel to that, in your heart, just surrender to Krishna, whatever you desire, let that happen. And I'm fully surrendered to you. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for that.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, the story that you mentioned, parallelly, last time of Ajamil is coming to my mind.
Yes.
He was thinking about his son, and he called Narayan,
Narayan, yes.
and Vishnu to the beard.
Yes.
In Brahmachari, he was doing the names, but he was thinking of a girl.
Yes.
So, doesn't like the name is like so powerful that no matter how you chant, it will take you to Krishna?
True. But the conditions were different. So Ajamil was extremely scared. He was seeing the Yamadutas. So in that state of helplessness, he was calling, Narayan, Narayan. This brahmachari, many times we all do that, distracted japa. We're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but it's not at a level of calling helplessly. But also the Bhagavad Gita's point of whatever you are deeply thinking of at the time of death, that you will achieve. So perhaps the thought of that girl and his japa were imbalanced. The japa wasn't really intensely there, but he was thinking of this girl. And at that time, yambapi smaran bhavam, that thought, that desire was prevalent. And therefore that is the state that you achieve or attain without fail. If at that point he had called out intensely, helplessly, Krishna, and again, I don't know his consciousness time, there might have been a different result. So it is all based on your heart, your intention, your spirit, your consciousness, however you find it. So when we are calling the holy name, that's why Srila Prabhupada gave the example, you call a helpless child like Krishna. Like in our movement we do this. We don't do that in any other Vedic movement where you've got your hands up. And it's initially very weird why we're doing that. But it's explained by Srila Prabhupada that when a child does this to their parents, the parents pick them up immediately. The parents, and when you're calling help, the parent will drop what they're doing and they'll pick up their child. So the helplessness, Krishna, I am yours, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. You're calling out with that intensity, Krishna will pick you up. But if that intensity is not there and there's a desire, remember Krishna wants you to fulfill your free will. Your free will is, I want that particular thing. Krishna says, sure, I'll give that to you, but there are the conditions that apply. So that's how that happens.
So if we have desires and we are not able to suppress them,
Yes.
so what should we do?
You have to deal with those desires, bro. Never ever suppress desires. If you suppress desires, that pressure cooker will build up. And at a later stage, that pressure will be infinitely more than what it is right now. That desire will be infinitely stronger. It's easier to deal with it right now than in the future stage. Now, it all depends on the conditions, the individual, the circumstances. So you have to seek help from senior devotees. Never ever suppress desires, that I will tell you. And everything, remember, this movement is 50 years old, but the Hare Krishna Sankirtan movement is timeless. There are so many descriptions in the Bhagavatam, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in the lives of devotees where we're all human beings, we go through human experiences. And we cannot artificially ourselves advanced and renounced. You have to deal with the desires that come. Seek help, find a devotee, a senior, your spiritual master, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, who you have faith in, reveal those desires, and there'll always be help. There'll always be ways. There is nothing in the material realm can be a hindrance to your devotional service. You just need to find ways to deal with, but never repress desires, bro. Hope that helps. Thank you, bro. Yes, bro.
Thank you.
The birthday boy. Sorry, bro.
You mentioned the story of Pratap Rudra. You mentioned that he was just swimming in front of the chariot.
Chariot, yes.
Right? But I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I found it a little weird at a grassy field and like it wasn't even meaningful. what's the significance for that? Like, can we do that?
So it is a state of consciousness. We're humbling ourselves, and especially those who are at a high level. You know, it's explained that Kshatriyas don't know how to bow down. They have their back straight and they're very proud. To actually sweep the floor, you have to look down and you have to bend down and sweep. It's a state of consciousness where even if it's not dirty, and before the Rath comes, Jagannath Puri, they actually wash the roads. So there's nothing to actually sweep, but the consciousness. Lord Jagannath, I'm surrendered to you and I'm going to sweep the floor for you. It's a menial service. 1 million, 1.5 million people in the actual Jagannath Puri pulling the chariot. And the king comes down and sweeps the floor. It's a state of humbling ourselves. So even when there's grace, you know, the consciousness is Krishna, I'm rendering this service. There's so many other services that are done. Maybe this is a little service that I can do. But also what it does to the sadhaka is it cleans the dust in our heart. So like cleaning Gundicha, we see the pastime here, cleaned it completely top to floor with water and everything. And then he said, let's clean it again. And he cleaned it again. It's clean, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like we don't have to do it. You know, if there's a safety, health and safety officer like, you know, Lord Chaitanya, it's actually done, check the box, let's move on. No, his consciousness is, I want this as a service to Lord Jagannath. Cleaned again, then he cleaned again. So the consciousness of whether that service is actually needed or not, the consciousness of the devotee is important. Obviously, we follow a hierarchical system. There's planners, managers who give services. We need the chariot made, we need books distributed, prasad distributed. And outside of that, it's all about the consciousness they have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Onil Prabhu.
You mentioned the story of Parikshit Maharaj,
Yes.
that when he was cursed, he still saw it as Krishna's plan.
Yes.
And you know, we see many devotees when the calamities or when something like that happens in their life, they always see it as Krishna's plan. They don't really react to it or, you know, try to counteract it. So how we, being sadhakas, when calamities or, you know, challenging situations come in our life, how we set as Krishna's plan?
So it's a very nice question, Onil Prabhu. And I look at Parikshit Maharaj's life. He had a calamity when he was in the womb of his mother. And Lord Krishna personally came, swung his gada and removed the Brahmastra's effect. The first person he saw was Krishna. Then after that, he's ruling as the king. Actually happened. There was no calamity in his life. Actually, it was a disease-free, poverty world at that time. And then this happened. So his intelligence immediately tells him that Krishna has provided me everything I need. And now this is happening. This is therefore Krishna's mercy. In our lives, it's not that forward. We have an unlimited karmic bank balance of many lifetimes and things happening, problems are coming about. Many times our mind is the one that's saying, just do this. And you do it and then you realize, oh, that's not devotional. That shouldn't be right. So it requires a lot of intellectual reflection. First and foremost, intellectual reflect, what happened? Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? And then can I make sure I rectify that and never ever happen again? If you realize you did nothing wrong, then what actually happened in the situation? So as Nityananda Prabhu said, you then approach a senior devotee and ask, like, this is happening. There's a problem. If they then say, no, there's actually nothing wrong there, then you start seeing, okay, this is Krishna's plan. So you first start taking responsibility on your own. Like, you know, every time we hear about Draupadi's pastime, I really love it, where Draupadi, you know, went through whatever she went through. But if you look at just that pastime of the disrobing, you know, a messenger was sent to bring her. And she challenged him, no way, I'm not coming out of this room. She was isolated. And then Dushasan came, she challenged him, she chastised, then he grabbed her hair, brought her into the assembly. She got into the assembly, she challenged the king first. He didn't say anything, he bowed his head down. She challenged the gurus, Kripa and Drona. They bowed their heads. She challenged the seniors, Bhishma and Vidur. Everyone bowed their head down. She challenged the assembly, she challenged her husband. So you do all your things first. Do all your part first. Dushasan started pulling, she grabbed, she was strong. Kshatriya women are powerful. She grabbed, but not as strong as Dushasan. So after doing everything in her power, that's when, hey Govinda, hey Gopal, she raised her hand. So even in our own lives, whenever there's either difficulty or we have a service to do, first do everything in your power and capacity. That also is Bhakti Yoga in the 12th chapter. Do everything that you need to do. And you do it as an offering and service to Krishna. Once all of that is existed, then you realize, oh, now this is a divine intervention. Something is happening beyond my control. And you fully surrender. You'll find magic will happen at that time in your life. Hope that answered your question. Jai. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.